All right, Meg, we don't really need to give an introduction to the next person. He's like Madonna. He can go by one name.
Yep.
He doesn't even need a last name. He should get a symbol instead of a name at this point. He should be like Prince. But we're talking to Kofuzi.
Yes, a.k.a. Mike Coe. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. It's good to see you guys again.
I know.
Again and again and
I
again.
couldn't believe. So you were episode 40, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's been over 2 years. And so much has happened.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked before, like online, and I've interviewed both of you guys. But coming back here on your podcast, it is really great to see it, and like things have kind of exploded beyond what I thought what would happen for each of us. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I was telling Thomas, I was trying to write down all of the places that we have been together in the past couple of years, and I'm like, we have done some cool shit. Like, we went to Tokyo together. We went to Worlds in Eugene. We went to Falmouth. We went to Boulder. Like, there's
Chicago.
So much fun
New
stuff.
New York. Yeah, you name it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I go to events without you guys sometimes, believe it or not. And it's not the same when you guys aren't there. I'm always like, well, where's Thomas and Megan? Because sometimes this summer I went to an event and Seth was there. And he's like, oh, I write for Believe in the Run. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, someone from Believe in the Run came. I'm glad to meet you. But I'm like, where's Thomas? Where maybe Robbie could have come as well. Sometimes it's like there was a chance. And sometimes there wasn't. But I wish that there would have been, So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I think it would be good. Like I did when you're talking about Seth Epley went to the Hut to Hut with you. And that run did look like fun. So, I mean, I dig that. I think that we should do a massive takeover of an event like the Trans Rockies and do a 6-day.
Let's do that.
6-day trip with all of our crews and stuff like that, and have everybody in there. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, years ago when I started making like YouTube videos, I had always kind of envisioned something like along the lines of City Slickers, where instead of like cattle driving, though, it's running, where it's just me, maybe my midlife crisis, middle-aged friends, and several days in the wilderness out of our element, but also doing something that's fun together. So like, I mean, running trails isn't that much out of the element, but it would be different. Like camping is hard for me. Yeah. So I feel like something like that, a multi-day adventure, is definitely something I would want to do.
And Trans Rockies is like that. It's like glamping.
It's definitely glamping.
You run from, so it's the best part about it is they serve you breakfast in the morning. Mm-hmm. You run, and then your responsibilities are done for the day. You get to your tent, you shower, there's a beer truck usually, there's food provided.
I lost you guys.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Are we back?
Look at his face.
Yeah, what is happening? Mike, your
I hope this comes through on the video because like if you can see Mike right now, his face is insane. There,
okay,
he's back.
There we go. Sorry,
right,
you're telling me about glamping.
Yeah, so it's like glamping. So you run. You'll do like your only responsibility for the day is to run. So you run your miles up and over usually. So you go up the mountain, down, across the mountain, down the mountain, and then you get to the other side. They've moved all the tents and everything. So you just grab your bag off the truck, pick a tent, and then go shower. There's a beer truck. There's a pit fire. Then
it's a good time.
Dinner is served, and you go to bed, and you get up, and you do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right,
we got to make that happen.
Yeah.
Before we started recording, Mike, I told you I have a bunch of really random questions for you. So this podcast is going to go all over the place.
Okay, I love it.
My first one, though, is what shoe did you run in this morning?
I can't tell you what I
Yes,
did.
you can.
It's under embargo.
Four.
Wait, will this come out after Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I ran in the Nova Blast 4 today. I ran in the rain.
I don't think the embargo includes telling people what you're running in. Like I put it in my Strava today.
Oh, okay.
It says Nova Blast 4. I don't have pictures of it. I don't have any description.
But what's your first thoughts?
It's a great shoe, but I feel like the FF Blast Plus Eco makes it more Nimbus-like, so it's more cushioned and it's more comfy. But I think it lost just a little bit of a step. I wouldn't take it for workouts, whereas the Nova Blast I could. I don't know about the Nova Blast 3, but I don't know about the Nova Blast 4.
It's funny you say Nimbus because I feel like that cushioning is softer and less responsive. I actually think it feels more like the Cumulus with a different outsole.
Yeah. See, in the Cumulus for me, I feel the gel and how they kind of make it a little bit more stable. And I think just the way that the Cumulus is like flared out, it's just more like stout of a shoe. So that's what I feel on the Cumulus. I can't even tell like what the foam is on the Cumulus because I think the shaping and some of the other like structural elements
gets in the way.
Yeah, it just interferes with my ability to I don't know what's going on in this shoe. I don't love the Cumulus. It's good, but it's not going to be high on my list. But the Nimbus I like because it's less like structured and I could feel the foam and I'm like, this is a nice squishy foam for relaxed running. And I feel like I'm getting like a slightly faster version of that in the Nova Blast 4. So that's my early.
I would agree with that because it's a little firmer. But what about here's the thing though. I feel like where the Nova Blast used to stand out a different look. Like if you remember the first one, it had like that engineered mesh that had like openings and slices in it. And then the next one, we kind of had this like rough and ready looking upper that was like something different, that it looked completely different than anything else in the Asics lineup. And now I feel like the upper it's a variation of like, say, the Nimbus. It's a variation of that. It's a very similar upper to other shoes that they have. And even the detailing on the midsole it's still more aggressive than some of the other models, but it's tamed down. I feel like this one's tamed in, and we got to talk about the weight. It's gone up almost an entire ounce. I think that's because of the rubber that they put on it. Maybe the upper is a little more substantial, but I don't know. Any of those things pop into your head?
Yeah, it looks to me like there's a lot more rubber on the outsole. Because there was a lot of people complaining about like grip in the wet. I'd never experienced that even when running like in the rain, or like what's slipperier is like when it just starts raining, Yeah. I never experienced that problem and I liked it the way it was, but now it seems like there's a little bit more rubber, which is always like one of the heavier elements you could put in a shoe, it feels like. And then as far as the styling goes, I do feel like I generally like it when brands kind of like have a similar design language across the year. That I usually like. But like you're saying, like the Nova Blast has always kind of been like, it sits by itself. Whereas like Cumulus, Nimbus, they have cloud names. Those go together. And like the Cayano and like the
Nova Blast and Super
together.
Blast.
Yeah, but like that was like, these things have existed for like 20 years. Yeah. This thing is brand new and different, and we're going to make it look different. So, like, I feel like going back to what you said, that it reminds you of the Cumulus. I feel like the design and the etchings and the shaping of the midsoles on the Cumulus and Nova Blast are reminiscent of each other, which again is good, kind of like from a brand perspective,
design language, yeah,
exactly. But like, also like, but are these two models that should look a little bit more different?
Yeah, that's the thing. I kind of I felt like this one is it's taming. It's almost like it was out, like you're saying, it was out here, and the gravitational pull of the brand is pulling it into.
I think we see that with a lot of brands. Like, I mean,
we do, but that's the Rebel.
Look at the SC Trainer. They made that a less like crazy fun shoe. I think it's better, but it's not the.
Well, I think a negative version of that would be the Rebel. The Rebel was a beautiful design that looked unique, and then they made it look like a daily trainer.
Yeah, but I love the Rebel 3 though. I did not like the Rebel 2 all that much. So like that's where I will disagree with you on that one. But like, yeah, I mean, we saw that SC Trainer 2, great example. It's more boring. It's better, but it's kind of less like zany, and I like I like things that are weird. And like the 1080 as well. Like it used to be like this weird, that had that weird heel cup in the back. It was super awkward.
Oh, I hated that.
I actually really liked it. And but now you look at it now and it's like, oh, it's really streamlined. It's a better shoe. It's a much better shoe. Yeah. But I'm like, but where's the quirkiness? Like, can we still keep it quirky and make it better? I'd like to have both.
That's a selfish thing for us, I think, is people that review a lot of shoes. Because it's hard to review shoe after shoe after shoe when they make them so similar to each other.
And they're boring.
Yeah, boring would be a word to use.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, I remember the first time I saw Nova Blast, and I was just like, oh, okay. ASICS is taking a turn. We're going a different direction. This is cool.
Mm-hmm. I remember that video that you made of that first time you saw. That's from TRE, which is coming out really soon.
I know. That's okay. Those are more of my questions. All right, let's stop nerding out about this.
I know we just lost like a million people who doesn't care about shoes.
People, okay. You know what? Here, look, you finally had an episode where you're talking about running in shoes. So I'm like, there you go. Yeah, now you're good for like the next 6 or 7 episodes.
Perfect. Yeah, we don't talk about running at all anymore.
Can I ask him one more question about shoes before we go?
You know it's going to come back up.
Yeah, you've got we all got it dropped because we probably get similar drops at the same time.
Yeah.
You just got a package probably from Saucony that has 2 endorphins and 1 ride.
No, I did not.
Did you get that?
No, okay. I think I'm second tier at Saucony. Like I get stuff. I got the Endorphin Elite right away, but then everything else I usually get a little bit later.
Okay. From them. Well, it's interesting that we got it because it's not off embargo until February.
Yeah, which is
I
kind of hate that. I kind of I love it that we get it early, but I also kind of hate it because I'm like, when am I supposed to do this for 3 months?
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have it yet then because I don't.
You also lose. It's not that you lose interest, but you know how things progress. Like you get boom, 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 and it's like I like stuff about a month out.
Same.
So I can get my stuff, I can hit, and when the shoe releases, we can have all our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
When we get it this far out, it is a little bit of like, because at this point, I already have, 7 miles on one of the shoes that I can't review for 3 months, 4 months. By the time it comes out, I'll probably have 100 miles on it. But
the thing is that's going to be weird is if that comes off embargo in February and it's snowing and winter out and you have like fall or they're running in like a singlet, it'll be like, when did you review this? You know? So I mean, that's a problem too.
Where are you with New Balance shoes?
I usually get stuff pretty early with them.
Okay. Do you have the racer that's
the Proto?
No, I don't have that one yet.
Okay.
So
you'll probably have it soon.
I think they're moving that embargo. All right. Anyway, let's move on to something else. Okay. Mike,
Insider baseball.
Would you say that you have created your dream job?
Yeah, I think so. On accident, because I didn't know that this was my dream job, but my approach has always been to kind of like follow what's interesting. I grew up in an immigrant Asian American household, so of course I wanted to be a doctor, or I thought I wanted to be a doctor my entire life. So I kind of pursued that. But even then, I was a biology major in college, and after that I worked in a lab. But I found myself, tinkering with the research, not tinkering with it, but like working on ways to incorporate digital imagery in a more practical way in what we were doing. So I was using like Photoshop and connecting microscopes to cameras and stuff like that. So like every step along the way, even in the most boring jobs, I was finding ways to get either like visual involved or on the side when I was out of work, I was doing something creative, writing wise or something. So, I've always had kind of like this side thing where I needed some sort of like outlet, you know what I mean? Like to do something different that wasn't so like structured. And so like I kind of have always kind of gotten good at this other side hobby stuff at the same time with no real goal except for it was fun. Like photography, videography, learning to like edit videos and stuff like that. But then eventually like my legal world, when I went to law school, that also coincided with visuals as well. So I went into litigation consulting. So I was helping attorneys figure out how to tell their stories better with visuals in the courtroom. And so like that became like a thing, which there's not a career path for that, even in law schools today, not really. And so like, it was just weird. Like eventually like the two things, like my like desire to have like normal, respectable jobs and like desire to do something creative kind of like kept colliding until now, like just the creative part has taken over and I have the opposite of a respectable job. I'm a YouTuber. So.
Okay. And that was going to be my question. So your parents, who I haven't met surprisingly, but here you go. Here, I'm going to be a doctor. No. Okay. I'll be a lawyer. No. Mm-hmm. I'm a guy that travels all over the place, talking about running shoes and running in general. Running around sometimes with your shirt off and stuff. How do they perceive your current occupation?
Yeah, I don't think they really understood it for a very long time. I was trying to explain them to them, like, they're like, well, who pays you? I'm like, well, like YouTube kind of pays me, Google kind of pays me, my wife has a really stable job, so that's like a big thing about it, so a couple of, it's just like, I don't know, like I grew up playing musical instruments, again, very typical Asian American family growing up. So I'm like, how do you think Yo-Yo Ma makes money? You think he's on a salary somewhere? No, he gets paid for performances. He appears at places. He's in commercials.
You threw out Yo-Yo Ma.
Yeah. Because I was like, well, I mean, like, who else? I'm like, think about a musician, and I was like, how does a musician make money? I was like a standard musician. Well, they put money up on streaming, and that has some monetary value for them, but the real money becomes from when they go on tours. Sure. There's merch, there's appearances, there's all these kinds of other ways that they can make money. But it's not like they don't work. They're not employees of anywhere. They're kind of their own businesses. And my mom's like, what do you mean concerts? And I was like, okay, symphonies. Let's think about symphonies. Like all those people there, they might work with a Philharmonic or whatever like that. And maybe that's giving them a paycheck, but they're not employees, permanent employees. After a while, they go somewhere else and they tour with a different group, and then that's how they really make their money.
So clearly, it's the job security that they're worried about.
Of course, yeah. Because I was walking away from something very stable and something that they could easily tell their friends what their kids do, And so that was a part of it too. Where they were like,
what is your answer? Like if someone says, "What do you do?" What do you say?
I make YouTube videos.
That's it.
I like
it. Yeah. I've gone full I live we just moved to the suburbs, so we're meeting a lot of people, a lot of my kids, friends' parents, and they're like, so what do you do? I'm like, I make YouTube videos, or I say I'm a running influencer. So I say that because I'm just it just cuts to the chase.
Sure.
And they might be like, okay. Or they might have follow-up questions. And so if they have follow-up, I'm happy to talk about it. But most people don't want to follow up after that, which is surprising. I'd be like, you do what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people are so concerned with how they can benefit from what you do. So if you're in a line with your kid's class and that guy's an insurance salesman or a, whatever, or a financial advisor, he's like, so what do you do? And you're like, I make YouTube videos. He's like, next.
Not a client. Okay.
But you did bring up an interesting thing because it took us a while to figure this out. That in this profession, this is, again, some inside baseball. It's not a one source or one stream. You got to have several ways to generate the income coming in. It's not going to be it's not like a job where you can be like, okay, we got this and we're just going to sit here and just milk that cow. It's more of a, all right, we got to work here. You get some off of website ads, you get some off of YouTube channel, you get some, and it's just little cuts that add up to a bigger picture. So if you're out there and you're considering doing this, it's consider diversifying the ways that you get things in.
Yeah, it takes it was funny when I haven't had a consultant an accountant for a long time, and so then the year where it switched over to full time, she's like, and what is this? I'm like, oh well, I put music in all my videos, and I have a service that I use for that, and I have an affiliate link, so when other people sign up for that, that's what that money is. Then I get a kickback. And she's like, wait, tell me, so videos? And I'm like, oh, we got to go backwards. So yeah, there's been a pivot, so that was some fun conversations to have.
So one of the cool things, like I mentioned at the top of this, is that we get to travel everywhere. So a couple questions about that. One, what has been your favorite place you've been in the last year? And then two, do you ever feel like the travel is really hard to juggle when you're not only marathon training, but also have a family?
Yeah, I'd say that the favorite was Tokyo. I mean, I've had a really crazy 12 months. And I've probably done more traveling the last 12 months than I've done in my entire life. So it's been really, really incredible. But Tokyo is just, it's like a different, it's literally on the other side of the planet. And it's like culturally, it's just very different as well. So it's just very kind of disorienting, and everything feels different. Everything, even stuff that's familiar, even just running felt, different. It was like a different place. And then the traveling's hard to balance because my wife does work. And so then like every time I'm gone, a lot of that stuff that I would normally do falls onto her. And so my schedule is very flexible typically. And so I get to handle a lot of things that she would like to do them, but she can't do because she has to be working. And so then she has to figure out a way to kind of handle all that. So that's like the biggest thing, is that one, I'm missing out on a lot of things. And two, it's like I feel bad because then my wife has to work that much harder while I'm somewhere.
You have family nearby to help out too, right?
Kind of. When I say we moved to the suburbs, we moved closer to my in-laws. So it's just it's a much easier drive for them, and we have an extra bedroom now, so like they can come and have a space where they're comfortable and they're set up, and they kind of have like their own bathroom and stuff like that. So it's just nicer for them to just drop in whenever. If I need to travel, or my wife does travel for work periodically too. So like if that happens, then I usually have my parents come over, and so that extra space is like space for reinforcements.
Do you think, like you're saying, the last 12 months you've traveled the most you have in your whole life? Like, is this sustainable? Are we seeing 2024? Are you going to be traveling a ton, or are you like, I'm tapped out?
I mean, I'm hoping to travel a lot more for 2024. I'd like to finish 6 stars next year, so I'm hoping to get into London and Berlin. So that's already
we're
two
going
big
to Berlin.
All right.
We got to make sure that we're going. We keep saying we're going to Berlin.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that.
Well, I keep saying I'm going to London. I don't have a bib yet, so I got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But like I'm hoping to do those 2 trips. I'd love to be able to go watch the Olympics, the marathons for the Olympics too. So I mean, that would be London, Paris, Berlin.
What about Olympic trials?
Yeah,
I'll be in Orlando for the trials too. Right. So I mean, like that for me is going to be the most exciting race of the entire year.
Yeah,
because it's like those are all the people that I follow. The Olympics is cool because it's the Olympics, and the level of running is that like one level even higher. But those are all the athletes that like I follow. Like it's like my phone, my Instagram like comes to life, and everyone's all racing at the same time. So it's super fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. So there'll be really good domestic travel, but also hopefully good international travel as well. None of those flights are booked yet. So like it's planned. And I have some other things that I'd like to maybe try to execute as well, but still I guess kind of far off before we get into final planning on that stuff.
Speaking of athletes, I feel like you've done a lot more athlete interviews and like whatever, just more stuff with the athletes versus just like talking shoes and brands and stuff. So how did that happen?
Because I'm interested in it. Again, it's just like pursuing curiosity. And so like I do like making review videos, and kind of related to like the travel thing is just like, if I made 2 more shoe review videos, I'd probably have more views right now, but then it's also like, well, you still want to make sure you're diversifying your content and also having fun. And so like, this is just like, I really want to talk to that person. I've been doing this live stream. I have this YouTube channel. So there is a place for them to speak. And so like, this is a way that like I can showcase people that I think are doing a good job storytelling in the running space, and also kind of like, satisfy that curiosity of mine of like, I have questions that most other people aren't asking. And so I want to put that out there into the world as well. So that's where that comes from.
I think that's a tough thing is when we all know that we talk to, we all get the same shoes. We talk to similar people. I think where the differentiation comes in is that I try to not ask the same questions or have the same take. You could interview someone and you might get something out of them different than we might. And just also how comfortable they are with each person and how they come out. So I think that that's interesting. But the main point behind what you said that I like is it's not all about the views and the clicks and the numbers. There sometimes those can be exciting. I noticed you just posted your Instagram level went up, and
Congrats.
That's exciting. It's fun to see the numbers because it's an indication that people are enjoying what you're doing. But at the same time, I love that we have the freedom to pursue what we find interesting, or regardless of whether it gets a click. Like having, for us, having Herm's Runs comes down and get on the electric bike, it's not going to do anything but maybe entertain or get a couple people to smile. And that's worth it,
Yeah, I mean, it's if it's not fun, then this job can get pretty draining. There's, it looks like it's the best. We started out saying it's like the best job in the world, and in many ways it is. But there are things that are also not great. So if you're not having fun, I mean, it could get old really fast.
Yeah.
So
that's part of our DNA is like,
we
if
always
it's
say
not fun, why
not
are we
fun,
doing it?
Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of numbers real quick.
Wait, can I ask him a question before we do it?
Yeah.
All right, so you say that you ask people questions that you're interested that nobody else has asked, right? Mm-hmm. What is something that our audience and your audience doesn't know about you that nobody's asked you, and you're like, this is a side of me that I'd either like to keep quiet or a side of me that I wish we could talk about more?
I mean, something that I would like to talk about more that I don't is, and I'll bring this up because yesterday, Ginger Runner put out the video of Shen Jiasheng running Western States. It was on the North Face channel, and the theme was firsts and stuff like that. And so, because he's like the first Chinese person to crack top 10 for Western States, and also he doesn't speak English. And so that was also, a little bit of the culture shock. It was like they filmed his first time going to like an American grocery store. And he was just like, why is everything so big? And it was just really funny. But also, like, he has a son that his wife and his son came on to Western States, and they were out here for like a month. And that son was like 2 years old, which is how old I was when my parents moved to the United States. And so like that, I connected to this, the firsts concept, and like the kind of like the culture shock of it, through like the son. I didn't connect with Shen Jiasheng because I'm not a superstar ultramarathon runner, but I connected with like the 2-year-old boy who's just like, his mom was like, I don't know how much of this he's going to remember. But hopefully he takes some good stuff out of it. But like, part of me is like, a 2-year-old doesn't remember much, but there's deep down parts of a 2-year-old that they do remember things. And so like my, like a kind of like Asian American experience is something I don't really talk too much about, but that's one of those things where I'm trying to find like the right way to kind of explore that a little bit more. I'm not sure if I'm always ready to talk about it and explore it. So that's one area, that's one avenue. So.
Okay, so just to elaborate on that a little bit, you said your Asian American experience. So is this, how would that come through in content? Like, how would I see that? Would it be highlighting Asian Americans? Would it be like, how does that express itself? Yeah,
I mean, so this year for like Asian American Heritage Month or whatever it's called, I forget what month it was. I tried to have guests on the live stream that were Asian American. And so that was like the theme for the month. And so like, I'm trying to figure that. I don't know what that looks like yet either. Like when I go home or when I go to visit my family, like we end up eating a lot of Korean food and it's very Korean American. Whereas like, there's different like kind of, I guess, levels of intensity, of Korean Americanness, I guess, or Koreanness versus Americanness versus what's the blend of the two, so like I'm still figuring all that stuff out for myself, like who am I, what am I, so I don't know how to like convey or portray that, but it's something that I've very much kind of like tried to avoid in the beginning, and now I'm like, all right, maybe I'm ready to start looking at that. I don't know what that means. But yeah.
Why? I'm curious why you were avoiding it.
Yeah, I mean, it relates to like the way I grew up, where just like, like now I see on the internet, like Instagram, like like white people like Korean food, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? Because I just remember getting ridiculed like all day long about not even if I didn't like one day I brought Korean food for lunch, and now that took forever for the school to get over that, because it was like weird, it was stinky, and funny colors, all that kind of thing. And then other schools that I went to just knowing that I eat different food at home was enough for for kids to find something to tease you about, so like this whole like new culture where like different foods are embraced is very like disorienting to me, because I'm like, no guys, you gotta hide that. You eat hummus at home, you keep that at home, you don't let anybody know you eat hummus at home or you're gonna be made fun of. Yes, like baba ganoush is delicious, just don't tell people about it. Like that's how I feel about like kind of like ethnic foods, but like when people are like when I see people loving like Korean vegan, I'm like, look at all these people liking Korean food. People like white people are trying to make kimchi at home. What is this? Like, I don't understand it. Like my brother-in-law lives in the middle of Iowa. He was telling me he was trying to make kimchi at home. I'm like, wait, you were doing what? I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. So like
burying pots in the backyard.
Yeah. So like, yeah, he could, he has enough land for that, but like, just like it was always kind of like you be invisible, you hide all your differentness. That was the survival mode.
I think that's interesting because I grew up in the Bay Area near San Francisco. So Asian culture, Hispanic culture was part of, it was just embedded, that's probably not the word. Embedded is, I think, the word that I was looking for, into the community that I was in. It was a more socioeconomic divide rather than racial or ethnic divide where I lived. So I wonder how much of that is depending on where you live in the country. And then before, there wasn't as much access to different, like you didn't go on Instagram and see somebody making ramen noodles and adding the things that you're like, oh, that'll make that better. Like you were eating noodle cups, cup of soup or whatever. So I think that it's, to me, when I hear that, it's like, oh, I wonder how much of that was regional for you or what those people were exposed to versus like growing up, like where I did, where, I would go over to friends' houses and there was weird smells coming out of the kitchen, all the time from, each person's house. You could tell where their parents were from.
Yeah, I think part of that's regional and part of it's temporal. So I grew up in in New Jersey, and so there's lots of Koreans that live in New Jersey and have for a very long time, but not quite as long as lived in either in LA or in the Bay Area. And so I just think that everything was just a little bit newer, especially in the New Jersey suburbs, than.
Oh, that's right. You were in Jersey.
Yeah, then things were probably in the Bay Area. And so I think that's part of it too, is that there wasn't as much time for exposure. I was on me and my parents, we came to the US in 1982. So we were on the front end on a lot of the New Jersey Asian immigration.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, my mom would have to drive for an hour to go to a Korean grocery store. And it was this little tiny single wide portion of a strip mall.
Not an H Mart.
It was, H Mart didn't exist. H Mart to me still is really weird that it exists. I'm like, there are enough Korean people to support this whole market. I don't understand that. I just kind of I'm a little bit, I'm about your age, Thomas. So I'm a little bit older and on kind of the earlier end of kind of more exposure happening of the Asian cultures.
Yeah, I do remember moving to the East Coast from the West Coast, and I was like, "Where's your Mexican restaurants? Where's your Chinese restaurants?" Even at once you leave New York City, I don't know how it is in New Jersey, but Maryland, they still don't have good Chinese food in Maryland. I don't know one place you can go that has good Chinese food. They go to this one place out in the county where Whitefoot Jared goes, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not really Chinese food."
Okay.
All right. I want to transition into some of your running, but first I want to say that whoever made fun of you is a real jerk, and we don't like them. And
thank you.
Yeah, what's he doing now?
We all love you, so
thank you.
Screw them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so one big thing that happened since we talked to you last is that you broke 3 hours in the marathon multiple times now. But Grandma's 2022 was the first time. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Okay. What did you do differently, or did you not do differently? Because this was your 5th attempt at breaking 3 to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, I think, little things. Like, I did do a little bit of cross training where I like got on the bike a little bit, like a bike trainer. A couple of afternoons as I was leading up to that race. But I think there was the bigger breakthroughs were kind of mental for Grandma's, and I think I ran LA earlier that year, and I came really close. But towards the end, I had some friends pacing me, Flores and Coach Jimmy. And so like they were really pushing me and letting me know, like, this is what you got to do to be able to get what you say you want, you know? And so I was just like, all right, I guess this is the part where I would have normally given up and been like, yeah, it's just further away than I thought. But they were just like, no, you don't give up. You keep digging. And so I was like, oh, okay. This is how much it's supposed to hurt. Okay. All right. I got it. Okay. So that kind of like opened my eyes because I came really close with them in LA. And then, what
was that, like 304?
It was like a 301 high.
301, okay.
So it was pretty close. And that's a hilly course. So I was just like, I felt really good about it overall. And then just like, kind of like not worrying about like, am I running the exact perfect workouts? Am I doing like the most up-to-date cutting edge stuff? Just like doing good work, trusting that it will take, and getting another, block in. Like before then I was very much like, all right, that didn't work, so let's scrap all this, figure out what else I got to do different, and start all over. And I was, after a while I was just like, no, I think these are the 3-4 things that are working. Let's just, it's like, just keep steeping like the tea bag in the water. You just got to keep letting it, simmer for a little bit, and then it'll get to what it needs to be. And so I think that was the right course, the right time, and at a good pacer. That also really helps too.
Ben
yeah,
Johnson.
That's right.
Who we'll see in New York here, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you know what? One thing that you've done that's kind of liberated me, and so as far as being an influencer, you've definitely influenced me on this. I used to run even my easy runs, I had an idea of where they need to be. I tried to always have them in the 8s. I was like, I don't want my Strava having anything above an 8:59. Everything like, so I was kind of grinding out and constantly putting that pressure even on the easy runs for like, if I would be like jogging and be like, oh, I got to pick it up a little bit. So I wasn't really getting those runs. And I started looking at, you post something online, because I don't stalk anybody on Strava, but you might say, oh, I did my run today at this 9-minute pace. And I'm like, Kofuzi's running sub 3 hour marathons. I'm running, my best marathon is, low mid 3s. I was like, I'm doing this wrong if that guy can calm the fuck down. Oh man. So I've started like this last training cycle. I was like, it doesn't matter. Like if it's an easy run, it really doesn't matter with the pace. And I think there was part of it was also the pressure of what we do. You feel like there's eyeballs on you. And certainly like in doing the Adidas Pro Evo 1, I ran a half marathon in the middle of a 20-mile run. And when I put up the results, I was like, I'm just going to put the results up there because that's what people are going to be interested in anyway. And if I hide it, it looks like I'm ashamed or something like that. So I was like, I'll just put up the results. And you do get some comments where people are like, oh, I can't believe you'd use a $500 shoe for that pace. And you just like, okay. But like just seeing you do that stuff, you recently did an Instagram post where you had several, like, what was your week like average pace, would you say?
So like that week, I did like threshold workouts and easy runs, and the easy runs are probably in like the 920s, 930s. And the threshold, the reps are around 630s. So like between threshold effort and easy effort, it's about 3 minutes per mile difference for me right now. Sometimes it shrinks or grows depending on how I'm feeling. But
did you ever have a little bit of like self-consciousness about pace?
Oh yeah. I had the exact same rule. 850s are great. 910s are death. Like do not do 910s. Right. It's just 10 seconds on the either end of 9 minutes. Right. But like it was like I would like run hard the last mile to try and get that underneath. So I've been there. I know exactly what that feels like.
How did you change? Like what happened?
Well, I had a bad marathon and I scrapped everything.
Okay.
And then I started doing low heart rate running. And to keep my heart rate low, I had to walk a lot of time. Yeah. So like I would run for maybe like slow run for like 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden the heart rate would still go up. And so I was like walk jogging for like, a lot of the time. And it was super frustrating. But I'm like, I believe in this. I think it works. I just got to keep doing it. It took me a little bit longer for it to kind of take. And for most people, then they're like, oh, then I did 14-minute miles and it was 12 and then 10. And now I do like 7-minute miles at easy heart rate. I've never got there. Mine have just kind of stayed in the like a 9 to 9:30s for very easy running.
And what is your heart rate at that?
These days, usually around like 140, 138.
Okay.
So somewhere around there. So
I don't do heart rate training, but that's right around where my easy runs have been. Like I've been right in there. And I have to say this particular training cycle, I kind of let go and was just like, okay, I'm just going to do my easy runs easy. And this is the first training cycle where when I do my hard workouts, I hit my paces every time. Like I hit it on the Wednesday workout and I hit it on if I have a long run with paces. And I'm like, maybe there is something to letting your ego go. And just if that's important to you race day, that maybe you can let it slide and maybe stop apologizing for crappy performances on race day.
Yeah, because that's much less fun than having 9s in your average pace on Strava. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So do you even like think, I mean, you have a huge Strava following. Do you even think about when you're posting stuff there? Like, are you concerned that people are going to be like, oh, you're not fast or you're doing this or you're whatever?
No, I mean the opposite. I'm like, I hope everyone sees that like I'm taking my easy days easy.
Okay.
Because I want everyone like, it's marathoning's a long game, like, so what if you had a bunch of 8-minute average mile easy runs, air quotes, like if you feel like junk at the end of the marathon training block, okay, you won something 7 weeks ago, but you're not going to win whatever you wanted to win come race day. I just think that, it's too taxing for a lot of people, including myself. So it's just like, I got to do something different that works for me. And hopefully this will give people the kind of permission to be like, well, maybe I'll try that. It might not work for you.
And that's what it does.
Work for everyone, but maybe it will.
It gives you permission. Like you're like, I think the results, it's kind of like the proof is in the pudding kind of thing, but you're not pudding. But I
feel like you've mentioned that like the last 3 episodes in a row.
That you're pudding?
Someone is pudding.
The thing is you've done the sub 3, which I think most amateurs, non-elites, you might want to say, would say, hey, if you can run a sub 3, that's an accomplishment. There's a few things in our sport that we're like, okay, for amateurs, what does it mean? And qualifying, getting a Boston qualifying time is one of them. Getting a sub 3 is one of them. There's just different posts. Sub 4, even when you start off running, you're like, I just would love to run a sub 4-hour marathon, or I don't know if you're out there and it's sub 5, whatever it is. There's little fence posts that you check off, and I think that you having that in your pocket frees you up to be like, hey, what I'm doing gets me to the goal I want, and it doesn't matter how I get there if I can show up on race day. But it really does liberate. Like when I see that, I almost felt like an exhale when I saw that you would run at these slower pace. I was like, oh, I don't have to prove something every time I go out. Like maybe I'm proving something when I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say that like whatever pace that I'm running for my easy day is definitively slow. I know that's, slow is all relative, fast is all relative. I'm not trying to, pace check anybody. In fact, that's, the point is the opposite. But I mean, I love the idea that other people are feeling better about their running because some other dude on the internet doesn't care about how fast he's going. He just wants to make sure he's getting in 60 minutes easy.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We're not pace shaming or giving like what the examples of times and the minutes that we're talking about are relative to how we run. And like, if I want to get pace shamed, I have Megan in the house. So, which her easy runs are like 7:15. Like I would die to run a marathon at Megan's easy pace right now. But and it is all relative. And what we're talking about though is like right now I've been training for a 7:50 marathon pace, which I don't know that I'll try to do at New York, but that's what I've been using for workouts. And then if I run like today, I ran a 9:47 after yesterday's workout. Was my average mile, and that's basically 2 minutes slower. Yeah. So, whatever you're running, your easy run should be 2 minutes at least slower than what you would be trying to do for a marathon.
That's Coach Thomas coming in hot right now.
I like it.
Well, I agree with. I didn't want Kofuzi is correct. I don't want people to think that we're saying what's slow and fast.
Okay, I want to go back to grandma's real fast.
Okay.
Because after you do this accomplishment, which took you 5 attempts, which congrats because it took me 7.
Was 5 attempts 2.5 years?
Something like that. Yeah, there's a pandemic in there too. So.
Yeah. What was your like immediate thought? Were you like, I'm good to go, I'm done, I did it, check that box, I'm just gonna cruise out from here? Or were you like, maybe I can go faster? There's
a little bit of maybe I can go faster because I'm like, oh, I see. Like once once someone shows you the way, you're like, oh, I could find this again. Is what kind of like why I think like being able to run with a pacer is great. Because then someone else is like, this is how, and like, I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Now I know. I'll bring someone else next time. Like that's the kind of like mentality that I'm, hoping to carry forward. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, how much faster can I really get? I'm 43 years old. Like, I mean, I still think I have PRs left in me, but I'm like, for example, I'm looking at the Berlin Speedy Runners category, and I've got to run, if I want to be a speedy category, even at my age group, it's like a 2:48. I'm like, whoa, even now, that's still, I've run faster since grandma's, but that's still another like 8 minutes faster. And that's just a lot, and I'm just like,
it's a mile and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any intermediary goals left? Like I was like, I need more round numbers. Like 255 isn't thrilling, although it'd be a great, next step. 250 seems far, and so I'm just like, that's the hard part is like, there aren't obvious goals anymore. First BQ is an obvious goal. After that, sub 3 is an obvious goal. Now what? I'm a good 42 minutes away from an OTQ. That's certainly not going to happen. So like what's in the middle? It's just kind of like, well, how much faster can I get? Is an exciting, but also like kind of like a murky kind of proposition at the same time.
Okay, well, as someone who ran a 256, my next immediate goal was 255. And then once I broke that, it went down to 250. So I think you just got to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I want to keep going, but like I said, it's just like, I know what's kind of working for me well. I'm going to keep doing that and see how many times I can kind of like put in good blocks and see where it can really go. But it's usually easier when there's like, like here's that thing I want to go out, reach out and get, and so like without that, it's a little bit harder to focus the workouts sometimes.
I get that.
See, and that's strange because I'm in this new headset where I just want to show up healthy at the line and see what happens. Like I want the excitement of, okay, I'm going to get myself in good shape. And then let's see how the day comes together. Because what I used to do was get myself to the line and then freak out that if it wasn't a success, if I didn't hit that goal, like if I didn't hit that arbitrary number, then the marathon was a waste and I blew it. And that sucks. I don't know if you've ever played golf, but I quit golf because and it was an uphill battle of me feeling like shit about myself all the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, golf is hard too because like every shot, every stroke is so precious. It takes a lot of the fun out of it. I love the driving range, but I don't like to play golf anymore.
Well, and I think we've talked about this before, Mike, but you and I are similar, and Thomas too, we love running. You love going out the door and running. Generally speaking,
if there was no marathons,
you would still be running.
We do it. During pandemic, I loved running during the pandemic.
Yeah, I ran a lot. I ran a lot of miles during that time. Yeah.
That was Megan's first 100-mile week.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Nice.
So how many marathons do you have under your belt at this point?
I don't really count them. I don't know, probably a dozen, maybe more. I'm not sure.
And so if you did, or do you have a next goal race, or would it be London if you get a bib?
Houston half is my next race, and that'll be a PR attempt. And my half.
I enjoyed that half course, by the way. I think you've run it before, right?
I've run the full there.
When we were there last winter, what did you run?
I didn't run anything. Full? No, I was just.
We were just hanging out.
He was out there.
Oh, that's right.
Filming.
You ran with me. Yeah. You ran with me for a little while.
Yeah.
It's a great course. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I struggled on kind of I've struggled hard when I ran the full a couple years ago, so I'm looking forward to feeling strong on that course to get a little bit of redemption, but also I'd really like to update my half marathon PB, and I think I'm gonna run in the Evo 1, so that'll be kind of a fun kind of day as well. So remind me of the half marathon PB? I think it's 126 something. So I feel like there's some room. As long as I get into good shape, I should be able to hit that. And then it's kind of well, how much faster than that can I go? I don't know. We'll see.
I like that. And you're self-coached. You'll just do your own plans and stuff for this.
Yeah. When I did that this week's Paces post on Instagram that Tom was talking about, people were like, "What is this? Who's coaching you?" And I was just like, "No one. It's just me. Yeah, no one to blame but me. It is weird.
I make
it's
the
different.
rules.
Yeah, it's different, but this is what I've kind of figured out is kind of what works for me. And until I feel like I've tapped out on that, I'll keep kind of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned the Evo 1s for Houston.
Mm-hmm.
You've obviously done a couple of little runs in them to get the feel and to understand the shoe.
Yeah.
You're digging it?
I like it. It's very different than anything else that Adidas has, except for maybe the Takumi Sen. But I also love the Takumi Sen. And so I feel like, that would be a pretty good half marathon shoe. But since there's a super version of the Takumi now in the Evo 1, I think that makes a lot of sense. Plus, it's just, I haven't raced a half marathon in a long time. Not one that I was running for a PR in a long time. And it's a sensational shoe. So why not? Put all sorts of
Maybe I should go to Houston and run the half with Kofuzi and learn how to
Let's go.
Enjoy the pain. Except for I won't. I'll let you go up ahead. Just see you later.
Are you guys going to be in Houston or no?
I don't know. Remind me of that date. Is that mid-January?
15th.
Yeah, I think the 14th, 15th, something. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that one's on the calendar, but you never know.
Well, you guys usually have Donna around that time too, right?
Yeah. Well, so Donna happens to be the same weekend as the trials. So,
it is?
But trials is Saturday, Donna's Sunday. So we might try and do a little turnaround. We're not sure yet.
That's not that far. It's drivable.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So.
I could certainly be talked into going to the Houston half.
Let's go.
If you want to go, Meg.
Could be your birthday.
It is right around there. It's also Meg's.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. January birthdays over here.
Nice.
Okay, I know you listen to a lot of podcasts. Okay. I know you listen to our podcast, which questionable decision making. But what's your favorite right now?
I mean, your guys' podcast is my favorite right now because
come on,
I'll take it. Don't make him. I'll take it.
No, because I know you get this a lot because I've heard people tell you it's I feel like I know you guys, and it's just like running with my friends, but I know you guys and you guys are my friends, so it is like running with my friends.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that because I don't get to run. I mean, I do see you guys frequently, but it's like getting another chance to do that. So that's always a lot of fun. And then I also love the Relay podcasts because I'm friends with those people too, and I'm on Relay every once in a while too. So like that's another one where I like to listen to that one as well. So those are probably like my top two, and then number three is probably Ali Feller. So,
all right,
classic.
What's crazy is if you are a friend of mine and you've run with me, you know that the only way that you're going to get me talking is if you listen to the podcast. Because like when I run with someone, I don't talk that much. Like we did a 20-mile run with Robbie, Jarrett, myself. I probably less than 50 words.
Podcast it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Wait, actually, how do you decide what content goes onto Relay versus your channel?
So for Relay, I have like a segment that I do with Tommy runs. So we do like the running influencer kind of like interviews. And then there's other stuff that Relay does more as like a group, and so like I'll just hop on that. So like those are kind of like the two like lanes that I have in Relay, and then kind of anything else I find I split it. Either it goes on Kofuzi Run Club channel, which is the live streams and athlete interviews, or it goes on my actual regular channel. So I have kind of like three places as far as YouTube is concerned where things can go.
Got it. Are you a reader?
I listen to audiobooks like crazy because I have a lot of time when I'm running. So I listen to audiobooks a lot, or I listen to podcasts. But like, if you give me a physical book, I will fall asleep like within 10 minutes.
I am the same way. Like, I don't understand.
That's why it's the perfect thing to do before bed.
No, it's horrible because you read the same page like 5 times because you're drifting off. Yeah. I was thinking about this today because I was putting on, by the way, if you want a great audiobook, the Rick Rubin book on creativity is phenomenal. Like, I've listened to it 2 times already, and I bought the hardback just so I could be like, look, I'm supporting you because I love this so much. But if I was thinking like, Robbie reads a lot. And I don't know, maybe his brain sucks in the words off the page faster. But for me, I have to actually like think about the words, and, I have to process the type and the whole thing. Like and Meg's a reader too. And I fall asleep if it's so much work.
Yeah. It's just a sedative for me. Like as soon as I open the book, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like maybe like that moment of sitting down and then maybe I've been running too much. It's just everything shuts down. And I think at this point, I think it's almost Pavlovian. Like book open, for sure. Sleeping time. You know what I mean? Like talk about sleep hygiene. They say to set up a routine.
Yep.
Like that's the routine that my body like understands is books open, sleepy time. So. Yeah.
Okay. So you wear glasses and this is another problem with reading that I've gotten as I'm getting older. I have contacts, but my contacts correct for my nearsightedness. Okay. So I can't see close. So I have to put on reading glasses to see close or take out my contacts. And if I take out my contacts, I'm fine. Are you nearsighted or farsighted?
I can't see pretty much anything. But like it started out, I couldn't see far, and then it's gotten progressively worse.
Okay. So I think there's something to do with that with reading as well. It's like, it's up close to your face. Like it's work.
Yeah. Okay. So not a reader per se, but you ingest a lot of audiobooks. So what has been a recent favorite?
I just finished Arnold Schwarzenegger's new book, which I did not think I was going to like it at all, but I bought it anyway. And I ended up, it started off a little rough, but it ended really nice. I actually really enjoyed that one quite a bit. Very surprised.
Okay. I have an idea of what I would take away from that book. What did you take away from the book?
At first it read like as if he were reading a series of like inspirational Instagram quotes, and I was like, "This is not fun." But then he started going into like his career, and every time he pivoted in his career, and how he like everyone kept telling him these are bad ideas, but he felt like these were good ideas and went with it. And also made sure to learn from other people along the way. That's kind of what I took away from it. So each step, like each phase of his career, and he's had a really wild, talk about career changes. Like he's had some career changes. Yeah. So I felt like, oh, this was like the book that I needed. I just didn't realize I'd be getting it from Arnold.
Arnold
But
Schwarzenegger.
Here we go. Here we
The
are.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what I think I would get out of it, because he's been so successful in whatever he's chosen to pursue. So, I mean, think about it, from bodybuilding to being a movie star, learning English, everything like that, and getting into politics. Like, the dude's done everything, and he knows how to accomplish his goals. And I think that that's what I would be looking for out of that book. Did you get like that? Here's how to accomplish your goals.
Yeah. I mean, not from like here's how you get into acting, but like in terms of like, how do you learn from people? What's your mindset? How do you keep going? It was really good. Really good.
All right, I'll have to check that one out. Will you check out the Rick Rubin one?
Yeah, I will. I worry though, sometimes when I see Rick Rubin like speak, I always feel like Rick Rubin is trolling Rick Rubin sometimes. Like just the way he presents himself and some of like the words that he's saying, like either this is really profound or he's making fun of me. And I'm not sure sometimes which one he's doing, but either way, it's giving me something to think about, and that's pretty valuable in and of itself. So like that's why I haven't bought it yet, but if you recommend it, I'll check it out next.
Here's what I like. Here's what I took out of it. We try to, and I actually talked to you a little bit about this in Chicago, creativity wise. Like, I sometimes try to force creativity, where if you kind of open up and let it flow through you, which sounds abstract without reading the book, but it almost has like a Zen garden kind of feel to the book. And just that maybe that, if, for example, you're a creator and there's something that the universe wants out there, whether it's getting more people to run or more people to enjoy running or more people see the possibility of having a YouTube channel or something like that, that the universe is speaking through you, and you are translating that through Kofuzi's lens, and we're doing it through our combined lens. But the interesting thing is that in his mind, that stuff is out there, and it's just who's willing to actually express it and do it. So I thought it was very great. I probably just lost everybody on that one. Okay.
I hear what you're saying. All right. I'll check it out.
Okay, I know we're past the hour mark here, but I still have like 70,000 questions. So let's do some quick rapid fire.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
Do we care if it goes over an hour?
How's your time, Mike?
I'm good. I can go over.
We'll still just do some rapid fire because this is fun. Okay. What are you most excited about for TRE this year?
To see everybody. I almost don't care about the shoes this year.
Okay.
Just like
okay. So my next question was going to be, what brand are you most excited for 2024? But do you just don't care?
I think you'll find out when it gets there.
We'll see what people have to offer. But 2024, I think, is going to be a really good year, because 2023, I think a lot of people were holding back a little bit. We're still on a bubble from release schedules and like supply chain stuff from the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And so like a lot of brands didn't update key models in 2023 or extended kind of like 2022 into 2023 models. And so 2024, especially with it being Olympic year, all like the big hitters are going to be updated and released. So like it'll be fun all across the board, I think.
Okay, what is your favorite daily trainer right now?
Right now, probably no Blast 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your favorite marathon race day shoe right now?
I like the Metaspeed Sky Plus still, and also the Endorphin Elite. Those are my probably two favorite.
You're not going Evo?
I don't know that I would like it for a marathon.
Oh, okay. So what's your race day shoe under the marathon?
Well, the Evo one's going to be my half marathon racer of choice. And then probably the Takumi Sen would be like anything shorter than like a half marathon or under. I'd probably reach for the Takumi Sen.
Okay. I think you kind of already answered this, but what like event or trip or plan in 2024 are you most excited for?
I mean, Berlin is pretty exciting. because hopefully that'll be my 6th star. But also London could be really exciting if I can make some other plans also work on it too. So we'll see. I'm excited about both of those.
He wants his UK domination tour.
Yeah. Well, the idea you start in Boston for the week before, and instead of the British invading the United States, the Americans go and invade England. I feel like it's poetic.
Will T be involved?
What's that?
Will T be involved?
Yeah, we're going to throw the T into the, I don't know, Atlantic.
Wait, what could we bring that would be very American that we could dump in the Thames?
Hot dogs?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, it's so gross.
So that would be fun. I'm not sure if that'll ever happen, but I'm very excited for the possibility of traveling and getting to meet runners in areas that I haven't really been before or haven't been in a very long time. And so just getting to meet people that are normally I don't know, I'll never meet this guy, and be like, oh, all of a sudden this guy on my YouTube's here. Cool.
So Lithuania it is.
Maybe. I won't say no right now. So we'll see.
New Zealand. Let's do that. Let's do an Australia, New Zealand trip.
The Masters Marathon Championships is going to be in Sydney next year. So, there's always that hanging out there.
We actually got a message. We haven't talked about the party yet. So after rapid fire, we'll have to talk about it. We got a message from a group of people coming from the Sydney Marathon that want to see how the New York City's run because they think they're getting the 7th star.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing and
they're coming to the shakeout.
This podcast is going to come out after New York.
Okay, we'll find out if they showed up.
Oh, no, but I thought you wanted to talk about New York on here.
Oh, yeah, there's no point in talking about the party.
It'll already have happened because it'll come out after the weekend.
Well, thanks for everyone for coming out. Can you believe that? That was that thing that Thomas said was wild.
Can you believe the turnout that we had? That was insane. I felt like entire New York was there.
Yeah.
All of New York.
Sure
the
did.
entire
it was hard to believe that it happened that way, but then it did.
Yeah. You must have given out 1 million high fives.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, we can let you go, Mike. I so appreciate you coming back on the show and chatting with us, and very much looking forward to seeing you in a week and a half. Yeah, less than. And yeah.
Well, now it's in the past, so it was great seeing you a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was so good to have seen you guys out there on the course, crushing it like I knew you guys were going to. So thanks so much for having me. It's always fun to sit down and talk with you guys. And
let's get silly. Let's get silly after the New York City Marathon or in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so confused now.
I know. We've already thrown.
What is time?
We're throwing the hot dogs at this point.
Just throwing hot dogs in the water. Hot dogs in the water.
All right.